My name is Jack. I'm going to critique two visualizations in relation to the civil war in Myanmar, formerly known as Burma. The first visualization is from an organization called CIDKP, Committee for Internally Displaced Karen People. Karen are the second largest ethnic group in Burma. This visualization is targeted at people who care about issues in Burma, but not necessarily those living in Burma, since the language chosen is English. More specifically, prospect donors and Karens who live overseas. The objective is to raise awareness about the impact of armed conflicts in Karen state and maybe mobilize them to help the people who are affected by the ongoing fighting. In my opinion, it will be easier to grasp how bad the situation is in each district if we know the total population of each district. The number of IDPs alone doesn't tell us the magnitude of the situation. Do lower numbers mean the district is less affected? Knowing the overall population size of each district will help us understand the severity of displacement of the people due to war. The second thing I want to critique is the inclusion of the district number. Without prior knowledge that these district numbers have nothing to do with the degree of displacement affected by the armed conflicts, people could assume the numbers represent the number of displacement from low to high or high to low. The numbers are the brigade numbers used among the Korean revolutionary fighters. It could be a little misleading if you don't have prior knowledge. The third thing I want to discuss is the color of the graphs. I think the author meant to highlight the current IDP situation and put everything else in the background. But I think it would be easier to read the graph if the corresponding months are in different colors, so it's easier to compare the data at a glance. The fourth point I want to talk about is the proportionality of the graph itself. If you compare the number of IDPs in Pa'an, district number 7, to the number of IDPs in Klelu-2, district number 3, it is not very obvious that Klelu-2 has 16 times more IDPs by comparing the height of the bar. I think it would be better if the height of the graph are in proportion to the numbers. Lastly, the empty data in December. I assume that it means they haven't collected the data in December. I think if the graph starts at January, it is sufficient and visually more consistent. For improvement, if we change the graph to look like this, I think this will be easier to read with minimum eye movement. You can easily see the changes in IDP numbers by month in each district and also compare them across all the districts. Or you can have it grouped by months instead of district. Overall, you can see the number of IDPs gradually increased month by month. This is the second visualization regarding armed conflict in Myanmar that I want to critique on. The visualization and data are produced by armed conflict locations and event data, ACLED. The target audience are larger NGOs, policymakers in foreign countries, and other educated individuals that have interest in Myanmar. The Burmese people are not the target audience. In addition, the data is collected from events across the whole country, in contrary to the previous report that focuses on just the current state in Myanmar's southeast. The visual is comprised of two main charts, the bar chart and the line chart. Initially, I thought the two charts are derived from the same set of data, but with different emphasis, since they share the same x-axis, which is the timeline starting from January 2024 to November 2024. However, the line chart is focusing only on airstrike events and the number of fatalities caused by the airstrikes. Because the color of the lines are the same as the color of the bar chart, so I subconsciously attempt to relate them. That would be a mistake. It doesn't help that the title of the line chart is not very obvious, as my eyes are drawn directly to the lines after scanning the bar chart and totally ignore the title. So I think the title needs to stand out a bit more, enough to draw attention from their eyes right after they scan the bar chart. The size, thickness, and color of the fonts could be increased or adjusted to draw attention. Rename the y-axis label from the number of events to the number of airstrikes. While I appreciate the summary of the data at the bottom of the visualization, I think it would be better if the position of the two graphs are swapped, since both the summary and the bar chart cover the number of political violence events. Having the bar chart directly on top of the summary would make more sense. The line chart focuses only on the number of military airstrikes. At the top of the visualization, it said, Myanmar has earned second place in the conflict index ranking. I have no idea what that meant until I dug for further information. After some looking around, I found this visualization, which explains the second place in the conflict index ranking. Among all the conflicts that are happening in the world, Burma is ranked number 2 in being the second most dangerous to civilians. It is because the military force uses its fighter jets to bomb villages or structures indiscriminately, using cluster bombs and even chemical bombs. If this diagram is incorporated into the previous visualization, it will make it complete.